If only I could turn back time.
Hello there, Guardians. My name is Dustin, the Gamer Gecko, or Best Gecko for 20. Today we're going to be talking about some Rise of Iron news that came out and some speculation. Now, in the latest Gameinformer article, they released some news about Rise of Iron, which they have played. Rise of Iron will be a 5-story campaign with a new raid, new strike, new PvP content, a new Court of Oryx like challenge, and so much more. So shall we get into it? So the first news they came with was, in Furtherant to Pink, we will be able to collect relics that I guess the old Lords of Iron had. And these relics are pretty game-changing. One of them, I forgot which one, actually removes your super, however adds a +1 grenade and +1 melee. So for anyone that doesn't like supers, here's your chance. Now for story content, it turns out the main storylines with cutscenes will only be 5 stories long. However, they will be super long, super interactive, and actually I heard very fun. However, it will not have as much comedy as the Taken King, because it's more of Lord Saladin coming at peace. Now, some people have speculated that since Lord Saladin is putting the mantle of a Lord of Iron to us instead of carrying on the torch, some people speculate that he is going to sacrifice himself to stop this new SIVA threat before it reaches anywhere else. And I, for one, think it's kind of sad, but would love to see some interactive stories. However, it turns out the stories are more for the Iron Lords than SIVA. However, the raid will be focused on SIVA itself, nothing else, nothing more. And in the raid, you will actually be able to see how the Fallen augment SIVA to them. So maybe there's going to be a boss that we fight that halfway through he gets really damaged, so he puts SIVA inside his body and becomes a much bigger threat. We do not know yet how, but we will be seeing a Fallen become a Devil Splicer. However, there is a new challenge players can do to get in-game armor. It's called Archon's Forge. Deep inside the Fallen Fortress, there is a forge which Archons, that's where they are. And when we have to offer SIVA offerings to a SIVA looking thing, I forgot what it looks like, but it's pretty weird. And we have 5 minutes to fight all the enemies, then fight the boss that comes out. So yes, there are lots of new bosses we can fight now, which I loved Court of Oryx. I loved getting these special rooms just to fight a special hive, and now we get to fight this new enemy. Also, the new strike will be called, I think, the Machine's Eye. If I'm wrong, please type in the comments. But I do believe it has 2 ways you can complete the strike, and the boss I do believe is the Machinist or something much more sinister. However, I have found out, which is interesting, that there are going to be 2 updated strikes. One will be the Devil Slayer, where we will have to fight Sepix Prime, but he is not Sepix Prime anymore, he is Sepix Complete. Which means he's going to be SIVA augmented, which means, yeah, we're going to have a challenge. The Hive Abomination strike, I forgot what it's called, but that's what it's about. It is getting redone, so we will fight a Hive Abomination, that's it. And the new raid is collision themed, so there's gonna be lots of warning and lots of environmental things hurting us. The bosses, Gameinformer says, is going to be unforgettable. They're probably, they say, the most favorite bosses in the game, which is actually quite surprising when you think about that, because a lot of people don't like fallen bosses. However, if these Devil Splicers are as hard as Bungie makes it sound, we are going to have a challenge. Now, they have released the in-game gear a little early to show us what it looks like, and they're very symmetrical, but very SIVA themed. However, interesting fact, and this is probably my favorite part of the article, it tells us that there's going to be patrol missions called quarantine missions, which in the quarantine missions we have to go find an Archon before there's a dark ritual, making more SIVA spread out through the land. Now this could mean two things. One, this could mean there's gonna be a lot of goddamn glimmer to earn, or second, we might determine how SIVA is in the environment. I could be wrong, but that would be interesting. And they have released one of the new exotics we will be having, and the first weapon we use in the game, the Kufstav, or whatever it's called, will actually be the most customizable exotic in game. We can change it into any kind of weapon. So this means if we get that, we could have the best weapon in the game. Well, of course there's the Galahorn, but you all know that's going to take a long time, so we're going to need the Kufstav to hold us back from tearing Lord Saladin apart saying, "Where's our Galahorn?" Also, they have released the new enemies attacks. Apparently, if you kill a dreg, it will release a ball of energy which will hit you and cause a lot of life to be lost. The Vandals have a ability to heal themselves and go berserk and oppress the enemy. Now that is very interesting, because this could mean, yeah, we're gonna be fighting some tough. Shanks, I think, do kind of the same. However, they did not release what Captains did. However, Servitors will now shoot more than one beam of energy, and will be, what's the word, shooting very diagonally, as in they can almost hit you instantly, so be careful when you fight those greedy bastards. Now the bosses I am interested to see, because obviously the Mechanist is going to have a giant cannon arm. By the way, in the last video I said 16 eyes, I meant 16 arms. He has 16 eyes. I'm sorry about that mistake. I don't know how many people watched my video, but yes, I said 16 arms. I meant to say eyes. So yes, we will be fighting very interesting fallen bosses. Violentus Peaks has 2 Fenders so far. I forgot one, but she's awoken and she's going to be selling us the relics. But the second one is Shiro 4, and he's the one that's going to introduce us to the Plague Lands and help us fight the fallen Devil Splicers before they can spread. Now, this is going to be strange, but in PvP, we're going to have a kill confirmed mode, which every enemy we kill, aka another player, they're going to drop a engram looking thing, and we have to collect these to confirm that, you know, we've killed that enemy. And also, they say we're going to have a PvP thing that players were always wanting. So if this means custom games, hell yeah. Because I do not like waiting an hour to join a session. If someone can create a custom game, that means I can just do a PvP thing on the go. Now, Devil Splicers are only gonna be in the Plague Lands. Before you start saying, wait, why aren't they gonna be everywhere else? Well, it's because the Plague Lands are the only places they can be, yada yada yada. Maybe in an update, they might be everywhere, but I can't confirm that. However, Now we're gonna go into speculation. So if you don't want to hear my speculations or my theories, just click off the video now, because, you know, if you don't want to hear me say what I have to think about the DLC, then, yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So, they say SIVA has an intelligence to it. So that means something is controlling SIVA and spreading it. Now, some people say it's Rasputin, some people say it's a surviving Iron Lord. However, I think it's a Fallen. Before you say, well, yeah, the Fallen are augmenting in this, I meant, like, the thing that's spreading it is a Fallen. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, I thought SIVA was, like, an AI. Well, he is, but maybe it's a Fallen AI. Think about it. What happens if a Fallen uncovered SIVA? However, he accidentally connected himself to the computer and became one with SIVA. Like, he became this strange SIVA-infused alien. Now, I do know how weird that sounds. I know a lot of people probably don't like that idea. A lot of people probably want to be Rasputin or a new AI. But in my opinion, I think that'd be very cool if it was like a very demented Fallen that's gone insane and is using SIVA for his own personal gains. And I think that would be interesting storytelling. You know, a new enemy that has a face but also is everywhere, basically. Now, why would this happen? Like I said, maybe the first Fallen that uncovered this touched it or something, and the computer attached the Fallen to it. So maybe the final raid boss is a Fallen, like, kind of infused to like a war mine core, which sounds pretty freaking disturbing but cool. Like, imagine like a Fallen, but like its body's attached to like a war mine core, kind of like Rasputin, and like every time he moves his arms, like a giant SIVA tentacle tries to hit you. In my opinion, that would be cool. Now, I'm not saying that has to happen, I'm just saying I would like that. Like a very cool Fallen boss that, you know, is, you know, letting his kind become part with SIVA. Now, in order for us to understand SIVA, we need to understand the Lords of Iron. The Lords of Iron were using SIVA to build cities to help the world. However, and this is not speculation, this is fact, SIVA turned on them somehow, and most of the Lords sacrificed themselves to stop it. However, Lord Saladin and Iridif, which we don't know what happened to Iridif, survived, and, well, maybe Iridif didn't, maybe she's SIVA, but we don't know. However, Lord Saladin survived, is making us Iron Lords to combat the evil that is SIVA. Now, I am really interested to see this story play out. Obviously, it's coming out next month. Hoorah! I'm gonna play it, do a playthrough of it, and hopefully you guys are gonna watch the entire thing. I'm even gonna record myself doing the Galahorn mission, which I think would be quite awesome if you ask me. You know, me trying to get Galahorn. And also, this is another thing about Destiny. We need to talk about Destiny 2. What's the story? Because Deej, the director of Bungie, says a lot of people are working on Destiny 2, which means, yeah, Destiny 2 is being worked on right now. And they say they have a lot of people working on it. So we could be expecting new races to fight, maybe new subclasses, maybe new things we can edit our characters with. Hell, maybe we can even like become a new speaker. We don't know. All I know is this is going to be a big game. However, Rise of Iron, how big is it? Well, imagine the Taken King, but cut down by 30%. Because originally it was going to be the size of House of Wolves, which means it wasn't going to be that big. it was probably gonna be a new raid, new enemy. That's it. However, Deesh and some people at Bungie felt very bad because, you know, they didn't release all the content they promised. So instead, they made it bigger. And how big are we talking? I mean big. So they made Rise of Iron the size of the Taken King. Well, cut by 30%. So it's not that big, but it's big. And we are gonna have lots of fun fighting these new enemies. Now, I do understand that these enemies aren't what we wanted. We wanted to see a new race. Instead, we had Fallen with new powers. However, I'm okay with that, because that's storytelling. And I know a lot of people are probably like, well, why don't we just make actual Fallen mutants? Why not, you know, make, like, Dog Fallen? Well, it's because, one, I like the Devil Splicers. They're fucking awesome. Second, I actually prefer them doing that to the Fallen, because the Fallen aren't that tough. Admit it, guys. If it wasn't for House of Wolves, the Fallen House of Devils were kind of pushovers. I mean, we can kill a lot of them at one time, so... Except Lando the fucking Fando. But, Devil Splicers I like. I like the idea. These are one of our worst enemies using our technology to make themselves into very powerful monsters, basically. I don't know about you, but that's strong, that's tough, that's Oompa Loompas. That doesn't make sense, but I just want to say that all day. Now, the Devil Splicers are gonna have interesting bosses, and obviously each individual Devil Splicer is gonna have a power. However, the Arch Cannon, which is coming back, by the way, will have Arc. So yeah, we can expect maybe there's a way to defeat them easily. In the quarantine missions, we're gonna have a giant flaming axe to fight the Devil Archons with. So I'm gonna be quite happy. Now, I do know that a lot of people don't like Destiny. A lot of people think the game's just there for money. However, I appreciate the story. And if you want to support Bungie, buy Destiny right now and add N365s. I have to go, so this has been Best Giga for 20, and I'll hiss you later. Goodbye.